Hello to our friends watching us on Facebook Live. Thanks for joining our Sunday Supper podcast. It's a video stream, and if you have any questions as you watch this stream, please leave those in the comment section, and we will get to them by the end of the show if we can. And our show today is, of course, brought to you by Kohler. At Kohler, you'll find the Whitehaven Apron Front Sink, which features a large single basin that accommodates large pots and pans, while the sloped bottom helps with draining and cleanup. Crafted from enameled cast iron, this sink resists chipping, cracking, or burning for years of beauty and reliable performance. Now, welcome to Sunday Supper. I'm your host, Mike Jordan, with fellow editor, Southern Kitchen's Kate Williams.
Hi, y'all.
Yes, and we have a wonderful guest with us today.
A wonderful guest.
A beautiful guest, if I may say so myself.
Thank you very much.
You look great, man. This is our man, Brandon Walker, who is the podcast director for SEC Country and Diehards here at Cox Media Group. Also the host of the amazing Mississippi State podcast, More Cowbell.
More Cowbell, yes. That's my podcast every single day here on Facebook Live, and I am the podcast director, like you just said.
Ah, I got it right. All right. We don't always do that here.
I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
You're the first person I've ever made say on the air, so I'm very excited.
I appreciate that. I love being first to something, man. I mean, I try to get there early, but it doesn't always work out.
Fantastic.
Speaking of getting there early and, a bunch of things that, we're talking about stuff not burning or, all that stuff. It's a special for eating food for some people. It's 420. I don't know if you know anything about that. Everyone's looking away right now. It's all righty. But that's not what we're here to discuss, actually. We are here, and my man Brandon is here because we're going to talk about food and sports, Southern food and sports.
Here on 420, we're going to be blunt about what we're talking about.
Good. I'm fired up. Yeah.
I am too.
So we wanted to get you here because, as we walk around the office and we all talk to each other about the things that, we all do here, but you being a Southern guy, representing a Southern, SEC school, but also, food. Sports and food go together like, food and sports kind of thing.
I would say outside of my wife and children, and I'm obligated to say that because I think they're watching, outside of my wife and children, sports and food are probably two of the most important things in my life.
Sports and food.
Two of my favorite things in life, for sure. Sports, food, food, sports. They are interchangeable. They are a match made in heaven, and they're perfect. And when you asked me to be on the show, and you said, I said, what are we going to talk about? You said sports and food? All right, fine.
I said spood, actually.
I am absolutely an expert on both. Depending, I guess I'm about 285 right now, so probably trending more towards the food than sports, but I'm excited about it.
Now, let's talk about you for a second and your background. Now, you being this director of podcasts, but did you go to Mississippi State?
I did. Okay. I did. At Mississippi State, 2003 is when they finally told me I couldn't go there anymore. So I went to Mississippi State. I'm from Mississippi. I grew up 15 minutes from Mississippi State, but I've been in the SEC my entire life. I've covered sports in Louisiana, in Florida, in Alabama. Now here we are in Atlanta. But I've been in the South and the SEC my entire career.
Outstanding. Being that you are from and of the South, being in Mississippi, I'm sure that you have some history with food, being that you're alive. So, there was some food eating going on there, and as you said, you love it. But tell me a little bit about just Mississippi food, because that's a state that is very important to us. We have Oxford, we have a lot of the cities who are contributing great things. But tell us a little bit about Mississippi food.
Mississippi food starts with your grandmother. And it
My
goes
grandma?
there, not your grandmother,
Well,
because I'm not sure she's been to Mississippi.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm sure she's a lovely woman. But in Mississippi, when you are living there, when you grow up there, it starts with your grandmother. It starts with you, and it goes to your mother. But it is an absolute family deal. I mean, you grow up around Southern food. I never heard the term soul food or anything else like that till I got outside of Mississippi. It's just what we ate.
Okay.
It's just what we ate. It's Southern food, everything from cornbread and everything else. But it goes on to the food stuff. But for me, food was always about Sunday afternoon. It was about getting out of church and going to your grandmother's house and eating for 3.5 hours, taking a nap, and then all of a sudden it's Monday. That's what food means to me.
Mississippi, that sounds about right.
Fried catfish, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt here, but when we're talking about Mississippi food, it's going to take a while.
Let's go.
But if you ask me to talk about Mississippi food, I got to talk about fried catfish first.
Okay.
That to me is the Mississippi food staple that is done better there than anywhere else in the entire world.
Really?
Yes.
Now, why? What is the
That's
thing
just, first of all, most catfish that is sold in stores in the United States is grown in Mississippi. The catfish ponds over there. I don't know why I said that. That's not important to anything. But fried catfish is just a staple of Mississippi. You can go into a gas station in Mississippi right now, on Friday, $4.20, and you can go into a gas station and get the best fried catfish you've ever had.
Gas station. I mean, that is a southern
anywhere, a hole in the wall, anywhere in Mississippi, you can get phenomenal catfish.
Have you been to Mississippi? Can you corroborate any of this stuff?
I've only driven through Mississippi.
Okay.
On the freeway.
Did you hit a gas station?
I didn't.
Well, first of all, we don't have freeways in Mississippi. We call them highways.
Okay. Maybe you haven't been to Mississippi, Kate. But I like how you had made sure that you filled up the tank so that you could pass straight through the state. It sounds like that's really.
The one time I drove through it, we were driving from New Orleans to Atlanta and trying to get here as fast as possible. So we did not really stop.
Couldn't really stop. Okay. I wanted to see. Now, I do know. I'm from Alabama,
Right.
Also kind of Tennessee as well. And gas station food is, of course, big. But, of course, we're more used to seeing fried chicken in the gas station than fried catfish.
Sure, and I said gas station, but I was just using it as an example because there's fried catfish restaurants everywhere in Mississippi. There's there's this guy's grandmother has a fried catfish restaurant and everywhere else. But it's not my show, but I'm used to asking questions.
Please.
You think of Mississippi?
Yes.
What food do you think of?
I think of Mississippi. What do you think?
I mean, catfish is a good one. I think about that, and I'm not super well educated on Mississippi food, but having known Jeffrey now for almost a year, he's from Mississippi too, and so he talks all about the catfish all the time, and so that's probably what I think of.
Yeah, I'm still thinking. I don't really have an idea for what the true state thing is, like a Georgia peach, even though we're really more about peanuts than peaches.
Right.
But it's when I think of Alabama, I also kind of what is the Alabama food? And now you would say Alabama white sauce barbecue or something, but that's not really the main thing. So when I think of Mississippi, I kind of keep it close to Alabama, where I'm from, and say it would probably be that whole meal that you see in the South with the fried protein, the green thing that's kind of boiled and stewed, your bread, and then sweet tea. So I kind of would always expect it to have some similarity, but catfish now makes a lot more sense.
Sweet tea is probably the most pervasive Mississippi thing. I mean, my kids drink sweet tea, and that's probably unhealthy. And it was my wife's decision, though, not my fault.
That's right.
But
throw them under the bus. You got to do it.
I think of Mississippi, it is fried catfish, and like you just said, to me, it's the entire spread. It's fried okra. It's field corn in the summer. It's all kind of things that go into a complete Mississippi meal. Now, I know, really, if you talk about Mississippi, you're also talking about Alabama. I mean, there's not that big of a difference in the cuisine. Or there's probably not a difference at all. You get into Louisiana, there's a difference. You get into Georgia, there's a slight difference. But Mississippi and Alabama, I think, are very, very close when it comes to what you're going to eat on a Sunday afternoon.
Now, looking at, when you're in a college environment, are there sort of things that, all the college kids are just going to eat fast food or whatnot, or do they kind of get into the local stuff where they can, and are there cafes that cater to a college environment?
Well, I know certainly in Oxford there is a thriving food scene, and there's great food in Oxford. There's good food in Starkville. There's good food in Hattiesburg, where Southern Miss is.
That's right.
There's great food to be found everywhere. Now, college kids are going to be what college kids are. I think they're going to eat whatever they can possibly eat very fast wherever they are. But I know that in Starkville, when I was there, I was not far from home. I was 15 minutes from home, so I could always go to Mama's table. But when I was there, I knew that Helen's Kitchen served smothered pork chops and macaroni and cheese and corn on Tuesdays, and I was there every Tuesday. So I think college kids are going to stay pretty close to what we were raised on in the South.
Smothered pork chop does seem to me
Smothered
like something
pork chops
I would
are
say
delicious.
is a little Mississippi kind of sounding thing. Pork in general is going to be big.
Do you not have smothered pork chops in Alabama?
Ours were smothered, but it was more fried. It was just a fried pork chop. So it didn't always get as smothered as it could. You'd have a country fried pork chop. You'd have things that were kind of like some onions on there. But smothering was kind of something that I would see in Tennessee a little bit more, it seemed like.
Here's what I'll tell you about that. Pork chops, fried, baked, barbecued, smothered, it's all good.
It's all good. All right, speaking of all good, you know who else is all good to us is Kohler, our wonderful sponsor. At Kohler, you will discover reimagined innovative finds like the new Farmstead enamel cast iron freestanding kitchen sink that can be installed wall mount with legs or top mount with custom cabinetry, giving it the look of a unique hand-constructed piece of furniture. Shout out to Kohler. So we're talking about these dishes now. One thing about a fried pork chop or a smothered pork chop, let's take this out to where we're really getting to the ball game, so to speak.
Okay.
Tailgating strategies. Now, this was something that I know is near and dear to Kate's heart, like tailgating, yes?
Yeah, because I don't really like watching sports.
Yeah.
I will go and I will hang out in the parking lot and eat a bunch of food, or sit in somebody's living room and eat a bunch of tailgating food, and enjoy it that way. But it's not really. I don't find a lot of joy from watching TV.
Just period. So whether sports or just like
unless it's
So if you go to a tailgate, what's the one food that you want to see at that tailgate?
Wings.
Okay. Now let's talk about wings, because I feel like wings are a staple of your tailgating environment. But what would you say are some tailgating classics that you need to have at your Southern SEC-ish tailgating experience?
All right, you're going to have at a Southern SEC when it's an all-day tailgate. Now it does differ if you have an 11 o'clock in the morning game. If you have a night game, you're going to have two different things. But at Mississippi State, you're going to have grilled things. You're going to have a brisket on the grill. You're going to have stuff like that. But you're also going to have the whole deal. You're going to have casseroles out there. You're going to have everything. You're going to have a full meal right there for the tailgate. I would say that wings, what she just mentioned, whether you're in Mississippi or you're in New York or you're in California, wings are probably the biggest tailgate food in the country. You get down south and you're going to get into more serious meats, more the 8 to 10 hour smoked meat variety. In Mississippi, it's going to start with pork. It's going to start and end with pork, and then you're going to have a full spread.
So then you're doing a lot of prep work. Then we know that with tailgating. Oh,
I'm not cooking it.
You're not cooking anything. Okay, because that's what I was going to say. How are you doing?
No, I'm
You're
just here eating. I was never told I had to bring any cooking knowledge. I was told I had to bring eating knowledge.
Hey man, we can all sit here and be as honest as we can, and I think that moves the world forward in a positive place.
All right.
But I was wondering if you did cook. So I mean, what is your go-to item when you are at a tailgating environment? Is there something you reach for first? Is there something you would prepare if you were
So I do have a strategy for grilling.
All right.
All right. I have the quick things, the things you put on the grill, and while everybody's waiting for the brisket or the pork roast or whatever, the pulled pork that you're going to have, I would say pulled pork is probably the number one tailgate item in Mississippi. At the end of the day, after it's cooked in the grill, after it's ready, you just shred it, and everybody comes, gets their plate, they make a sandwich out of it, whatever they want to do with it. I'd say pulled pork is the number one thing, but to me, I'm about the short-term stuff. As soon as the grill goes up, I want some smoked sausage off the grill. I want some burgers off the grill. I want some wings off the grill that take 30 minutes to an hour to cook. So I can be eating all day until it's the main event time.
Kate, have you done any tailgating out there? Like, have you manned or womaned the grill, I should say? I'm sorry.
I don't think so. I think I usually just eat.
Okay.
Too. I mean, I do grill at home.
Okay.
I know how to, but I'm more about the coordinating of things a little bit more than actual.
What's going on.
But Kate, what casseroles do we need to bring? How many people is this going to serve? Et cetera, that sort of thing.
Now
and then they call me a professional, and then put all this responsibility on me to plan.
And you don't really like that. It seems like you seem
it's
like
fine.
You're cool with
it's fine as long as I can make a spreadsheet about it. It's fine.
Excel, it's a part of any good seasoning when you're watching a game. Now, then give us a little bit of planning, and let's see if you all have some congruency here that we can turn into something. If you're planning tailgating, and again, being a Georgia lady, what kind of things do you want to plan if you're getting your tailgate going? If you want to help someone out with how they want to get their stuff going?
Brandon said, you want to have food that people can eat when they get there. You don't want to be like, oh, I'm going to make this amazing pulled pork and then make everyone stand there for 8 hours while they're cooking, right? So you need to have stuff you can cook quickly, but you also need to have stuff out that people can just eat immediately, like chips, guac, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Snackable stuff.
Snackable things. Yep. You want to get healthy, some crudité and a pimento cheese horse,
Okay. And you did do this, actually. There was a sporting event, I don't know if anyone's heard of, called the Masters, where they ate some pimento cheese.
That's golf.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. Yeah, let's not
You're
talk
getting
that,
confused between the Derby and
that was
Masters.
the Derby, the horse. Yes. I mean, yes, they're horses, but there's no golf in the horse game. So, okay. I don't really.
Unless
horses generally stink at golf.
Unless you're playing polo, in which case it's kind of like golf but fast on horses, right?
The only polo I know is these shoes that I have on right now. They're from Marshalls, and they're about $19.95. But so wait, let's talk about then if we're looking at grilling, because you would think that the grilling part is part of the whole tailgating experience. So you don't just want to have it, where you're just starting a meal or you're just getting it going, but there is part of that whole thing of someone's wearing an apron, somebody's doing some flipping stuff with a spatula, there's some danger involved, do you keep a first aid kit or whatever is going on? But I'm always interested in it's not really kosher to fry out there. I mean, like you see some people with a big fryer, but you're grilling going on. What kind of sides do you eat? Like, how do we set up how do we get it all going?
How do we get it all going?
Yeah.
The buffet approach. You got a big long table.
Okay.
And you got everything out there. Listen, tailgate is not ringing the bell and everybody sit down, we're all going to eat and we're all going to talk to each other. No, tailgating is, you got thousands of people around you and they're walking in and you might say, hey, to a stranger, hey, listen, I got some pulled pork, I got some macaroni and cheese, I got some okra over here. Come in, get you a plate and get out of here. Styrofoam plates, everything's informal, everything's fun, everybody's having a good time.
Shout out to Earth Day, by the way. Styrofoam plates, those are always good.
422.
That's right, 420. Now, who does a good tailgating? Like, if you go around the SEC, who does it right?
So my favorite in the SEC that I've been to, and I've been to 11 of the 14 schools. The only ones I haven't been to are Texas A&M, Missouri, and South Carolina. I have not been to those places, although I'm sure they do it great. But my favorite in the SEC is LSU. I think LSU does it right. LSU is the best tailgating atmosphere in the entire SEC. A lot of people say Ole Miss, theirs is not so hot to me. But they don't allow flames in the Grove. You can't grill food in the Grove, and that's a big difference.
That's crazy.
That is crazy, right? Yeah. But LSU to me has the whole thing. They get there early in the day. Everybody's, having a good time. So everybody's drinking. Yeah. Everybody's drinking. They're having a good time. It's very relaxed. And they got the entire Louisiana food experience is always there. I don't know how they do it at tailgates, but you'll have gumbo. Right. You'll have jambalaya. You'll have everything that you could possibly think would be in a Cajun environment, would be in a Louisiana environment. It's incredible. I think LSU, far and away, the best tailgating in the SEC.
So speaking of drinks, what are your favorite tailgating beverages? Is it all beer, or do you go a little crazy with some cocktails?
So I personally, I'm a sports writer. I'm always working, so I don't get to drink at these events.
Oh man, isn't that unfortunate?
But if
I were, hypothetically, if I wasn't wearing this logo and if I wasn't representing the company in a tailgate,
fine company,
I would. I'm a beer guy because I have to pace myself at tailgates. Mm-hmm. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And if I dive into the cocktails and everything, I'm not as good.
It gets a little bit heavier.
Right,
yeah.
It does.
When I'm thinking about it, also it seems like you want to go light on beer. Right. It doesn't seem like you want to think about. Well, you have to think about what this weather's going to be like. A stout maybe is in later football season, but a pilsner, a lager kind of thing is going to get you in. It's early baseball season. It's still kind of cold here in Atlanta. You see, we're all except for Kate. We have jackets on. We're shivery up here.
Cold.
Yeah, but I mean, that's always been a question for me is that, when do you start and when do you finish with the drinking aspect? I've been to many a tailgate. I went to Morehouse, who, a great school. I wouldn't say the same for, they've actually gotten a lot better with their sports program. Not enough to really talk about here, but the tailgating thing would kind of go like, you get there at 7 in the morning,
right,
and by about 11 o'clock, you've done way too much.
Correct.
And so there's a pacing environment that needed to go in there. But the way we always traded that off is let's just eat a lot more bread and a lot more meat, pulled pork sandwiches. I would say you can probably, the one thing I would say that's probably going to get you in some trouble is some wine at the tailgate, or can you bring wine to the tailgate?
I would not want to be caught as the guy that brought wine to a tailgate.
Okay.
That's not who I want to be.
Okay. Not even, there's some fine things in the local gas stations that, at least will heat you up a little bit more.
Canned wine.
Yeah, canned wine.
Man
cans are good.
Again, if we were talking Kentucky Derby, I think wine is good there. Okay. We're talking about a football fall in the SEC on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. I'm going to let you bring the wine.
Okay, well, I probably won't.
Okay, all right.
Now, one other thing that I'm looking forward to with, we're in baseball season, and I know that's not normally your gig, but when we hit a baseball game, we're looking at, when you go outside, and it's all kind of different tailgating for different sports, but there's different foods that seem to fit in with certain types of sports. So how would you kind of differentiate? What are you looking for if you go to a different type of game? Okay,
so I'm glad you asked that question. Okay. I actually do. I'm prepared to answer that question.
Ooh,
so football, you know why we tailgate at football games? You know why tailgating is so great at football games? Hey, you got 70,000 people on campus and you got some great cooks and everything. But number one, you can't eat at a football. If you're at a football game, it's nonstop action. You don't want to miss anything. A lot of people are standing up the whole time. They're nervous. You don't really eat at a football game. Maybe you get some nachos or something to tide you over. But a baseball game, to me, baseball is the perfect sport for eating. It's leisurely. Yes. It develops a little more slowly. You can sit back. They have inning breaks. every 3 outs you get to go to the concession stand and get whatever you want. So baseball to me is the perfect, from first pitch to last pitch, the perfect sport for eating. Whereas football, from morning till kickoff and then after kickoff, that's when you eat for football games.
Very true. Baseball games, is it really as simple as, peanuts and Cracker Jacks? I know hot dogs are a big thing. But one thing I've been wondering is there a Southern hot dog? There's a Chicago dog, there's, your New York dog and everything. Is there a Southern presentation that you've ever seen out there in your fine work you're doing?
I don't know that there is. I mean, I enjoy a New York dog, a Chicago dog. But I would say the dogs that I've had out at Mississippi State, at Ole Miss, at Alabama, sausage dogs maybe, or something. They're a little different in the South that we really, we don't stop at hot dog. We'll just put the entire thing of smoked sausage on the dog and call that. I think sausage dogs might set the South apart, although I know, they do that in Chicago and other places. But that would be my interpretation of a Southern hot dog. What do you think about that?
Pork.
Yes.
Because like in New York, most of the time we're talking about like all beef hot dogs.
Right.
Chicago, all beef hot dogs.
And the mustard instead of the ketchup.
People are like, they'll throw sausage in there. It's just you get a little bit different kind of animal in your casing.
Would it be more peppers in that thing, or is there kind of like, because I'm like, think of things that are Southern, like could you garnish it with some collard greens or something like that? I feel like there's room for it.
Slaw.
And, like some slaw, or Duke's mayonnaise or something like that.
You could cover it in Duke's mayonnaise.
Duke's mayonnaise always
and
done
some
people right.
Fried chicken crumbles.
Yeah, I mean, I always look at it like, and then thinking about, going back into pork skins. So, these are things that, when you're talking about some chips or some kind of early thing, I don't think you set out some pork skins.
Yeah.
But how does, I've never quite understood like how you get to the point of where you have staple environment food such as a hot dog and it doesn't have some southernness to it. But again, it's not a football necessary thing.
I wonder if, we do have tailgating down here. Tailgating is more pervasive in the South than it is the North.
Yes.
First of all, our weather's better in the fall.
It is.
So you got that environment. So maybe we've just never adopted a stadium food because we've never had to. We bring all of our food from our table to our tailgate. We don't have to have something that's easy and on the go, and it's just a stadium food. I feel like all the stadium foods that you see really come from New York, Chicago, and other places.
Yeah, we're like potluck style for sports.
We just we're going to eat the same way we eat on Tuesday, on Saturday. We're going to keep eating, and we just bring it to the. Oh, that's all tailgating is, right? It's bringing your kitchen and living room to the stadium.
Yep, too lazy to do anything else. I know that's right. By the way, are you signed up for our email list? If you're not, please hit pause and head over to southernkitchen.com to sign up. There'll be delicious, tried and true recipes sent directly to your inbox once you do that, plus many special offers on the products in our shop. So don't miss those discounts. Now, let's talk about stadiums and arenas for sports food. And being in Atlanta, I don't know if you could tell, but I've got on like a bootlegged, old school Atlanta Hawks. People think it's the Thrashers, but it's the Hawks. And I also have my little Braves Atlanta hat on here if you could see me right now. I'm trying to represent, even though I don't know that our teams represent very much. Anyway, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
I think that, starting from local, charity begins at home. Mercedes-Benz Stadium is doing a really good job. Have you hung out over there, Brad?
I have been there a couple of times, and their approach to food is changing the entire stadium game in this country. Oh. Their approach to food is refreshing. It is remarkable, and I applaud what they have done. I mean, they have taken, usually if you go to a stadium, let's say you go to the Super Bowl or an NCAA championship game, wherever it is, doesn't matter where it is, you're usually going to have to take out a loan to be able to afford food in that stadium. And Mercedes-Benz Stadium has taken that away. They've got affordable food. They got good food. I think Mercedes-Benz Stadium, probably the best stadium for food in America right now.
And I would agree, because I would say it sounds like we're being a little bit too lenient towards the home team, but affordability was a major thing that I saw, and it was kind of like, wow, the beer wasn't over the top expensive for what you could get in a gas station for like $1.99 for a 16-ouncer.
Right.
But then again, they have some really good and solid people who are here in the state and outside of it preparing the food. Kevin Gillespie has his place in there. He has the, not quite Chick-fil-A sandwich and all that stuff. What's it called? Closed on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So that's a good one. Yeah, shout out to Kevin Gillespie. Trying to get sued, but maybe he won't be. He's big enough. Have you been to Mercedes-Benz?
I have not been.
You have not been?
No.
Okay. I would say, again, we have Mercedes-Benz. SunTrust Park is also not too long ago. I feel like they are more of a destination than they are a place where you're going to really focus in on the food, which no problem with that. But I look at them and they both open around the same time. Mercedes-Benz seems to have an idea that, I think Sublime Donuts is there. Have you been to Sublime Donuts?
I'm not.
Oh my goodness, have you been to Sublime Donuts?
Yes.
Okay, all right, yeah, come on, Brandon. We need to take you out there one of these days.
I mean, whatever we're doing after the show,
Traffic's
that might
too bad
be.
today.
All right.
We'll bring something in here for you. But who else does a good job then? If Mercedes-Benz is right now the standard, where else around the South or specifically Southeast, wherever you think, who does a good job?
Boy, that's a very good question. You know, Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta has kind of been my home stadium for a while. It's been where I gravitated to. Superdome in New Orleans is really good.
Yes.
I keep going back to Louisiana. I know, I'm sorry, but they take food seriously down there. And whether you're at a game, whether you're at a practice, wherever you are, if you're in the Superdome, if you're next door at the arena there, they're going to have really good food, and it's going to have a Louisiana flair, and it's terrific. I would say the Superdome in New Orleans, AT&T Stadium out in Dallas does a really good job. I've been there once. It was really good, and I don't want to get off subject.
No.
But you mentioned SunTrust Park.
Yes.
And you talked about the food in the stadium. I think the interesting thing about SunTrust Park is the food around the stadium, that they've built a food culture around that stadium in the last 2 years that was never out there. It's amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, that's Cumberland Parkway. If you're not familiar with Atlanta, we have the 285 perimeter. It meets 75 as it's heading north, and right up there, there were kind of more of a chain restaurant environment. So the Battery is what that whole district is called. And I know that our man, Linton Hopkins, who started the Holman and Finch and the Big Crazy Burger that took the nation by storm, he's got a steakhouse there called C. Elliott, and it's very good. You also have Hugh Atchison, who has, he's partnered in Punch Bowl Social. So, and it's kind of like a Dave and Buster's-ish kind of thing. Have you been over there yet?
I have.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Have I been to a Dave & Buster's or have I been to the Battery?
The Battery.
I've been to the Battery. Yes, it was
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Okay.
It was phenomenal. You just go from one to the other. It's all right there by the stadium. It's family friendly. It's also late at night it can be young person friendly. So it's a perfect environment, and it's just brilliantly planned around that stadium.
That's true.
You just got to deal with the traffic to get there.
Yeah, but you're going to deal with that anyway in Atlanta. So.
True. But that one entrance ramp to, I don't remember if it's 75 or 285, that's like the scariest thing I've ever experienced.
Because it kind of like it does a
It's
crisscross, and you're not really sure if you're going in the right direction. That is a little weird.
And then there's trucks everywhere, and I just don't like driving here, obviously. But
yeah, it can be a little tricky.
It's cool.
Have you been to any stadiums outside the South to watch any kind of games? Where have you been?
I have been to the Oakland A's stadium.
Ah, yes, you lived in Oakland,
Yes,
right? Correct.
yes, the
That's
Oakland A's.
O.co Alameda County Stadium.
Yes, it is a piece of a word I cannot say on air.
Okay, all right, yeah, but
Hey.
at least it's a nugget, we should call it.
But
then,
they do have, they have the classic giant hot dogs and giant tall cans of beer that cost $20 or whatever.
Okay.
So you can get one of those and a $20 hot dog and, be happy with your life choices for a minute.
Yeah.
But at least the tickets to see the A's are not expensive.
Okay, right. Yeah, well, Jose Canseco, probably ruined it for everybody.
Curse of Jose Canseco.
Yeah, shout out to him. Huntsville he came from Huntsville, Alabama, not originally, but he came through.
I got a Jose.
Huntsville Stars. This man over here knows sports. Yes.
I got a Jose Canseco bobblehead doll at the A's stadium once.
Yeah, that's
And
almost
sat
like how he
in my
really
house,
is
and
as a
I'm like,
bobblehead.
okay.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I was really hoping we were going to talk about Jose Canseco today.
good. Yeah, because we could. He's good pickings off the bone. We can always bite off of him. What about you? Like outside of the South, because I feel like it's such a thing to where it's more based on nostalgia and you're just supposed to do it other than you were supposed to enjoy it. So it seems like these days we are starting to take it more seriously, almost the same way we do airports. And it's one of those things, if you're going to be there, instead of treating people like captive audiences, let's treat them something. But have you been to Yankee Stadium or any of those places? Or
I've not. No, I don't have the money you got. But I've not been to Yankee Stadium, but I do want to speak on that as a whole. When you talk about, and Mercedes-Benz is kind of pioneering this, it's no longer about, hey, come watch the game. It's about fan experience, and eating and food is a major part of that fan experience. Mercedes-Benz, like I said, is one of the pioneers here of making it very affordable and giving you every option under the sun. You're going to see stadiums across the country where, hey, here's the ticket, and here's what we got here for food. Here's what we got. The entire experience is shaping the building of these stadiums, and even the ones that already exist, like Yankee Stadium. That experience is changing right now. That the experience around Wrigley Field is changing, and Mercedes-Benz, by taking that food first approach, is kind of helping to steer it in that direction.
It is, and again, if you're going to be there, it just seemed the same way, is that we're missing out on a business opportunity by really encouraging people to eat before you come or eat afterwards, but block off this time because it's not going to be an option for you.
It's a big commitment to go somewhere for 3 and 4 hours at a time. It's a big commitment to go to a Falcons game. Well, you go to a Falcons game, that's a 6 or 7 hour commitment because you got to deal with traffic going in, you got to deal with traffic coming out. You've already spent $400 or $500 on tickets, so they make the experience more palatable by giving you great food options on the cheap. I can't speak enough about it.
Yeah. Do you have anywhere that you were really impressed with in Mercedes-Benz or just any kind of one of the stadiums?
Well, the press buffet was terrific.
Yes.
The media buffet, where you don't have to pay anything, was probably my favorite spot in the entire stadium, and that's the same in every stadium across the country.
They always do a good job with that free
Mike
stuff.
knows all about the free food.
I do. I mean, it's one of those things to where I feel like at this point, if I taste it and don't pay for it, I have a better idea of like what it really tastes like.
Free food is
it
the best
doesn't have
food.
that layer of money on top to kind of mess
Correct.
with the palate. You know what I mean?
I have no problem paying good money for really good food, but I am really excited about paying no money for really good food.
The free pizza tastes better, does it not?
It does.
One thing that I also think about when I'm at a game is, you know, what are the servings? Because again, you would see nachos, you would see hot dogs, you would see pizza, you would see all these things, but I've always thought if I'm going to get hit over the head with a high price point for what I want to eat, it's going to be a chicken finger. It's going to be something that's going to hold me together for at least the next hour and a half as I drink these ice cold, very, mainstream beers. But I go for the chicken fingers when I'm there. Do you all look for anything specific? Is it nachos?
Hot dog.
It's just hot dog. Okay. Have you ever seen a hot dog be made?
No, but I don't get squeamish about stuff like that. I mean, I grind my own meat and make sausages all the time, so like.
Not to brag
it's
or
not.
anything,
I've actually made hot dogs before.
You did?
I did. It was horrible and really difficult.
Okay. Wait. What was so bad about this?
So when you make like a regular sausage, when you look at it, even you see like little bits of meat and little pockets of fat.
Yep.
And so basically, when you make that, all you're doing is you're grinding up meat and keeping it really cold, and then you're stuffing it into a casing, and that's it. And it's not that hard to do properly. But when you make a hot dog, it's the same as like if you're going to make bologna or mortadella or something like that. It's an emulsified sausage. So what that means is you've blended the fat into the meat along with some water, kind of like. Imagine like making a mayonnaise, but with meat.
Mayonnaise.
So you're
with meat.
making
That's
this emulsion. Is what you're doing, and in order to do that at home, it's really, really hard.
Yeah.
To just keep everything at the right temperature and mix it properly, so that it doesn't break and like ooze out water, which happens all the time when you make it at home. And then you have
delicious.
to.
I can't
Then you
lie
have
to
to
you.
like get this paste into the casing, which is harder than like ground meat. Anyways,
Yum. Yeah.
Now we're all really hungry, aren't we?
I know. I can't wait for a mayonnaise.
Yeah,
meat
that sounds
sandwich.
delicious.
But I have to ask one quick question. What was the casing you used?
I used pig intestines.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, that's usually, and not to surprise anyone, but the hot dog wrapper isn't just hot dog wrapper. That's actually part.
Yep.
And some people are like, I don't eat chitlins. Well, you
I
eat
do.
hot dogs.
But
so.
like most, the small hot dogs, like that you would buy like a Hebrew National or whatever, are more often made with lamb. Or artificial casings, but that'll get you the hot dog that's more like
the tube, the really
tube,
light,
the
slim
narrow
thing.
tube. The fatter ones, like a bratwurst or something, will be in pig.
We have to get Kate out here. Like, she's saving lives and making hot dogs at home. Anyway, I'm sure that Kate also keeps the things clean when she's making these meat paste tubes, and that's where we bring back in Kohler. At Kohler, you will find the super stylish Monte Carlo round bar sink by Callista, which features reflective, hand-hammered finish accents and copper construction for reliability and durability. Let's talk about one of these other important parts of a sports event, and there are drinking games, I feel like. Now, I'm very familiar with Flip Cup. I don't know why I'm familiar, because you don't remember a lot after you play a lot of Flip Cup. But there are drinking games that you can play stuff according to, what your team's doing. Do you all have any, drinking games that kind of work for some sports kind of stuff?
I'm blanking on the name of this game. My brother taught it to me, and it's the worst game. It's terrible, but it involves, like, you spin a quarter and you try not to let it hit the canister on the table, and then someone slams it down, and it's really hard.
Yeah, I've seen this.
I
game
don't
played.
remember. Oh no, you spin it and then you try to like stop it standing up,
Yep.
and then if it falls over, then you have to drink, and then like once you finish your beer, you can use it to like it's called landmines. That's what it's called. It's a terrible game. I hate it.
But you remember it.
But I
See, this is
played
why
it.
we give Kate we pay her in hot dogs, so like.
Right. Meat paste.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any drinking games that kind of work good for football?
So I
or
don't
baseball?
want to come across as the most boring guy ever, and I feel bad coming unprepared on the drinking games thing. But I never really played much drinking games.
Okay.
Once the bottle was open and once the first drink was out there, I'm just going to drink it.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to win or lose. I just want to drink it anyway.
Yeah.
So I've never really participated. It's been 15 years since I've been in college. I know I played some drinking games back then, and I don't want to date myself with those horribly outdated drinking games that we probably played back then.
Beer pong.
Yeah, so we played beer pong. We played stuff like that. We played all that. But as far as like current drinking games, most of the drinks at my house are served in a sippy cup these days, so not a lot of drinking games.
All right. Well, let me ask you this then. Looking at other sports besides just football and baseball, talking about, we just got finished with the Masters, and out there we of course have a mint julep, and there's the big pimento cheese thing. But what's kind of like, if we're looking at specific types of going to this event, have you been to the Masters?
I've never been to the Masters. I was anticipating this. I'm excited about this because I love pimento and cheese.
Oh.
I love it. I love pimento cheese so very much. I've never been to the Masters and had theirs. I've always heard it's delightful. I've heard it's terrific. Have you guys ever tasted it?
I have not.
I've
but
been
I
to
love
the
pimento
Masters.
cheese too. It's like my favorite.
It's
Southern
one of my
thing
favorite
in the
things,
universe.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's very inexpensive there, famously. You
$1.50.
get the sandwich. Yeah, it's wrapped very no frills. It's just like pimento cheese sandwich.
So
They
how
just
good
hand
is
it
it?
to you. I'm not a big cheese eating guy, so
Mike has these weird aversions to things like cheese and mayonnaise that are both delicious.
I understand the mayonnaise. I don't understand the cheese. Cheese is delightful. I thank God every day that cheese is in my life.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you haven't had Masters pimento
No.
cheese. What's the best version of pimento cheese you've ever had?
Oh man! So this woman we met with the other day, she makes this stuff called proper pepper.
In the tub, yes,
It
yes,
is
yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
She's from. I'm gonna totally butcher this. She's from a town outside of Milledgeville.
In Georgia, yes.
In Georgia, and it is. I don't know what she does to it that makes it so delicious, but it is excellent. It's definitely expensive pimento cheese for
Yeah.
sure. High end pimento cheese, and the design reflects it. It's definitely like classy, but otherwise, just like I usually just make it at home and like don't pay attention to what I'm doing. Just kind of mix
That's
stuff together
reassuring.
until it tastes good. With I always put cream cheese in mine. But
Was that expensive pimento cheese from Milledgeville? Was that in this office? Because
yes.
we do work in the same office.
There's actually some in the fridge.
There's some in the fridge right now.
Yes, there is.
Oh,
All right.
yeah. She's good people. Yeah. I was turning on it too, actually.
This has taken a turn for the better.
It's in a square container, and you can tell when you look at it, you're like, that's
It's
the
in
one.
a square container.
Very nice packaging.
Very
It is
nice.
very
It's
pretty.
beautiful,
It looks
and it
good.
is.
Yeah.
When you eat pimento cheese, I'm sorry.
No, get in
I
there,
don't
Brandon.
take over the
Come
show.
in. Yeah,
I'm
get
sorry.
in there.
Sorry.
Pimento cheese
Welcome
show.
to more Cowbell. Okay, so my question is, when you eat pimento cheese, is your best presentation? Do you like to eat it on a sandwich? Do you like to eat crackers? How do you like to eat it? I like to eat it with crackers.
So Triscuits, celery sticks,
I wasn't ready for
or
that. Yeah.
white bread.
White bread, yeah, just sandwich.
Okay, sandwich.
Or you just put it on a bread and just eat it like toast.
Or grilled cheese or something.
Okay,
but,
yeah.
But celery sticks was how I first learned how to eat pimento cheese. My grandmother would serve it with celery sticks. So that's like my initial introduction, but I feel like Triscuits are my favorite cracker vessel for it.
I like saltine crackers.
Saltine crackers
Just
are
straight
good.
saltine crackers, $1 a sleeve. Just get in there. And pimento cheese is very cheap to make at home.
Right.
Very cheap to make at home. And my mom used to make it every day for me when she would leave me in my cage at home and she'd go to work. Yeah. So I would have pimento cheese. It was fantastic, and I love talking about pimento cheese. Sorry.
Do you make it?
I don't. I've never made it myself. I make plenty of things. I cook at home. I do all that stuff for my wife. I've never made pimento cheese, and I don't know why.
Well, because you haven't been looking at SouthernKitchen.com as
We've
much.
got like
because we
5
have-
different recipes for it.
We do. Kate will tell you they are outstanding. These are people who take pimento cheese as seriously as you do.
I do.
I feel like there's kind of like, it's like that dating app Tinder, except it's between you and your love for pimento cheese, and no one has to know what goes on between y'all.
Why
So it's
isn't
like,
there a Tinder for cheese?
We've tried it and some things happened,
all right.
so let's not go into
It
all
is
of
a
that
cheesy
stuff.
idea.
This is the next big idea for Southern Kitchen. Don't
Now,
tell Derek.
I have a question about, so let's talk about the Derby. You had a hot brown before?
I have had a hot brown.
What'd you think of that?
It was good. It was
Okay.
good. It was good. I don't know if there are different presentations of it. I don't know if there are different variations of it, but the one I had was just gravy on top of the sandwich. It was good. It's not something that I would go out of my way to have, but when you're there, when you're somewhere, when you're in Louisville, stuff, places like that, it's good to try it one time. It was good.
Have you been to the Derby? Have you? But you have definitely made a hot brown.
I've definitely made hot brown dip.
Okay.
Like what we have on
Wait, what can hot brown dip be?
Okay, so we made this up this year, and it's basically you make the cheese sauce gravy
First.
in a pan, then you mix in chopped up turkey, and then you put roasted tomatoes and bacon on top, and then you stick it under the broiler and serve it with bread, toast.
I feel like me and you two need to hang out more.
SouthernKitchen.com. Kate does not hold back any of her brilliance from what goes on that site. It is there. Brother, we can go there and we can find this road together, or you can go on your own.
We sit 2 rows apart in here, and we never hang out, and I'm over here talking sports all day, and you guys are over there cooking delicious food. What have I been missing in my life?
You got to start coming to our parties, too.
Yeah, that's really what you got to do. We got to do this more often, too, because as we get into, real, good weather and folks are going to be outdoors doing all this stuff, I feel like there's an opportunity for us to be there to support you guys with burgers and beer and everything. We didn't talk about burgers either.
We haven't talked about burgers.
I mean, isn't that something?
Burgers are something, yes. Burgers
with
are
pimento
delicious.
cheese on top.
I have had a burger with pimento cheese on top. You can put pimento cheese on anything, but pimento cheese on top of a burger is terrific.
But it melts, doesn't it? It's kind of
No,
like
pimento cheese
It
doesn't
really melt. It kind of warms a little bit, but no.
It doesn't really melt. It's thick enough to where it stands up to the burger.
Yep. But you still have to put your burger sauce on it, too, in addition to pimento cheese.
But that would be a southernish way to kind of get your stuff going, is get you some pimento cheese.
You could put it on a hot dog.
Yes. See, that's what I'm saying. We got to get this thing together. Kate is probably going to be adding a southern hot dog recipe if we can do anything about that. I think it's overdue. But so we're looking at, we got the hot brown, we've got the Master's pimento cheese, we've got burgers that kind of go anywhere, but again, it would probably be more baseball kind of environment than a football because you just don't know what's going on in a football game.
Well, I think at the tailgate, you see a lot of burgers.
Yeah.
You see a lot of burgers before the game. Now, at the game, again, you kind of grab what you can grab during a football game. But I think burgers have a distinct place at any tailgate across the country, and especially in the southern tailgates.
Yeah. Is there a tennis food?
I know at Wimbledon, which is in England, I know they serve strawberries and cream. Now,
they probably have Eton messes.
I have no idea what that means. I don't know if strawberries and cream is something different over there than it is over here, but that is their famous thing that they serve, so I don't really know what it's all about.
I feel like tennis food has got to be daintier.
It's got to be. It's cute.
Finger foods?
Yeah.
I feel like cucumber has to be involved.
Cucumber sandwiches.
Yeah.
I'm showing my bias against tennis.
I love tennis actually because
I enjoy tennis as well.
Yeah, it's beautiful to watch.
It's so hard. Have you ever tried to play tennis?
It's very hard. You knock the ball over the gate every single time if you're me.
Or you just don't hit the ball at all if you're me.
Did you call it the gate?
Yeah, the fence. Yeah, not the original.
Right, not the net. Right, you're talking about the gate,
big thing
behind the player.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. It seems like that's what's supposed to happen. So, well, I would like to just say that in addition to all of these wonderful things that we're talking about, Brandon, which you have helped us to kind of get a better understanding of what the culture is like out there, we also have this moment that we call the bless your heart moment. And in the South, bless your heart can
mean so many things.
It's not really a compliment. It's trying to be kind of nice about it. So I have a couple of things that I saw that were out there in terms of stadium foods. I saw Spam grilled cheese, and that seems weird. At Houston, the Astros makes a lot of sense for what goes on with the Astros. But anyway, burgerizza. Have you ever had the burgerizza?
I have never had the burgerizza. I've never heard of the burgerizza. In my mind, I immediately got a picture of it. I'm wondering if it's similar to what actually happened. So no, I'm curious as to what it is.
Have you ever seen it?
No, but does it have pizza as the buns?
It is a pizza as the bun on both sides. It has a pepperoni, and so you get the cheese, there's the crust, and in between there is a huge patty of meat. And it is a large, it's like
is it a full pizza?
It is.
So,
we have people high-fiving.
How can you eat it?
You shouldn't. You shouldn't eat it, but people do eat it. You cut it like a pie, and you get little bits of it, and so it's like a triangular shaped thing. And when you look at it, it's kind of like, I'm gonna die very soon after I eat this. But it's very popular. When the Braves used to be at Turner Field, they had it there. When they moved over to SunTrust Park, they continued the burgeritza. I would say, try it. You only live once, but that really might be the end.
So I don't know what my reaction's supposed to be here, but as somebody who is 80 pounds over where he should be, I would like to try the burgeritza.
Would you eat it? Good. That's what I wanted to know.
Maybe I would only try it once, but I would try the hell out of the burgeritza. Excuse me.
Well,
I almost said burgerita, which is another idea maybe we can
margarita burger flavor. Yeah, like do we have some burger tincture? That would be awesome.
Just saying.
Well,
burger flavored margarita or margarita flavored burger?
Burger flavored margarita. Or margarita just with a burger sitting on top of it.
But
a little
maybe
garnish,
it's like
little
sort of
garnish.
like a Bloody Mary margarita, right? So it has like the
that could have a little tomato
more savory
juice,
flavor to
and
it.
some soy sauce or some whatever.
You guys figure that out.
Hey.
But I will definitely try whatever you come up with.
Well, then bless your heart, then, Brandon.
My heart.
Yeah, like you're going to need it eating these burger-flavored margaritas and margarita-flavored burgers, but we're going to pray for you and you're going to be all right.
Thank you very much.
Now, I believe we have some Facebook questions or comments. We have our awesome Lindsay here. Tell us about what the people on Facebook are saying.
Brandon, you have quite a few. Ole Miss fan Hannah.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
We have an Ole Miss fan named Hannah who wants to know your favorite place to eat in Oxford, Mississippi.
My favorite place to eat in Oxford, Mississippi. I wish I hadn't got that question because this is going to destroy my reputation. But my favorite place, I do like to go to Oxford, Mississippi. It is a good town. Ajax Diner is on the square. It's on the square in Oxford. Now, there are finer meals to be had in Oxford. There are, $100, $200 meals to be had in Oxford. Great places. John Currents is a chef that runs a lot of places there in Oxford. He's phenomenal. But to me, Ajax Diner, which is on the square, is just a meat and two or a meat and three. And they have other stuff on the menu. But it is a phenomenal place to just sit down, have some good Southern food, and maybe you got a football game the next day or a football game later. But Ajax Diner is my favorite place in Oxford, Mississippi. Thank you, Hannah, for that question. Please never ask me that again.
How about Biloxi, Mississippi?
Biloxi, Mississippi. So down on the coast. To me, the coast of Mississippi and the rest of Mississippi are two totally different places.
Yes.
They're both in Mississippi. They're both wonderful. I love them both. But down on the coast, you have the seafood influences, the southern seafood. It's almost like the low country of South Carolina, almost.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you also have Louisiana, which is right next door. So you've got a lot of that. You got a lot of gumbo down there. Biloxi is another, I would say, there are many great food destinations in Mississippi that nobody really talks about. Oxford, people do talk about, but Biloxi is one that maybe you don't talk about that you should. Natchez is another place maybe you don't talk about, but you should. I think Biloxi is certainly on that list.
Very nice.
And if you have to eat fast food, what are you going to eat? KFC or Popeyes?
Ooh, Kentucky versus Louisiana there.
That's also from Hannah.
Yeah, lose some friends right now. Lose a friend, Brandon. Come on.
So this is a callback. This is obviously, I don't know if this is a Mississippi State fan or if it's one of our producers messing with me. So on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, I put out that I like KFC's chicken more than I like Popeye's chicken. Even though I like Popeye's sides and other stuff more than I like KFC. But as far as just the chicken, I like KFC. And people lost their minds. They went crazy.
Yeah.
I was deluged with people just calling me names and stuff for how dare you besmirch Popeye.
Yeah.
I like, first of all, it's fried chicken. I don't think you can make bad fried chicken.
Can't go wrong.
You cannot go wrong, so
Okay.
I think you're okay. But just the chicken, I kind of prefer KFC.
I got so scared when you said that. Even I shouldn't stand next to
I
this
know,
guy.
right? Because people are very, very passionate about this
Popeye's
topic.
chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
What is it about Popeye's chicken that is so that drives that?
You have an idea,
two heavy
theory?
sides. Did you
I
see
don't
that?
know. I think there's like something in their spice blend that like gets people like particularly fired up, and like KFC has such strong like also like history with its blends that you can see like this rivalry thing.
KFC has 11 herbs and spices.
Yes, and Popeyes
do.
probably does too, or
Yeah.
maybe more, and it probably some of it is MSG, and that's fine because it tastes good.
It does.
But like, it's.
I
I
think-
think
okay,
people
all right.
want it. People want to like latch on to the thing, and they have to decide what the thing is they're going to latch on to. And for some people, it's their favorite fast food restaurant. For other people, it's I don't know.
But the weird
football
thing here
teams.
is, if I said what the best burger in fast food that I thought, and I said it was better, burger A is better than burger B, you would go, huh, okay, that's an opinion.
Yeah.
But on fried chicken,
No.
with
Yeah.
Popeyes and KFC, people lose their minds. They go crazy.
We did a taste test, a blind taste test of all the regular
Fast food fried chickens,
that
yes.
anyone can get,
Yep.
and people got really angry about it too on Facebook because they just like want to talk about. They also just want to talk about it. They're like, "This is my opinion."
Guess who won, by the way?
Popeyes?
No.
KFC?
No.
Bojangles?
No.
Who?
Publix. Publix won.
I have
And it was
never had
scientific.
Publix chicken, but I've heard
it's
people
good.
that swear by it.
It's absolutely fantastic if you're looking at if you put them next to each other. Now, going into biscuits and everything, we did that as well. You can go to Southern Kitchen and see this scientific, real thing. Kate led it, and you see she's about the science life. So
Right.
she made sure that we didn't cheat or go over any kind of favoritism thing.
So who won the biscuits?
Bojangles.
Yes, yes.
They're really good.
They have the biscuit.
Yeah.
So I think that it's, I would say Popeyes gets in there because KFC's been around longer, so we root for, and then they have, when they do the Popeyes commercials, like, Louisiana Fast.
They do have better commercials. I
Like,
can't look at Reba McEntire as the Colonel. I can't do it.
She
so
is a little- she's too
Popeyes, she's too thin.
Yeah.
She's
not eating that chicken.
She's not.
No. I think we have 2 more questions, do we? Yes.
What's the main tailgate food in Alabama?
Ooh, the main tailgate food in Alabama is going to be ribs. That's absolutely going to be the case. I mean, people will, again, you'll get there, you'll show up early, and it's part of the thing, like on how we were saying earlier, you don't want to do a pulled pork because it's going to take a long time. It's kind of like, well, yes, it's going to take a long time, and do you want any, or do you want to go away and shut up? So people get the ribs ready. There's marinating overnight. There's rubs and everything, and you get up 5:30 in the morning. You're set up with your smoker or whatever by 7 a.m., and you are out there. And so that's part of the whole thing. Now, I think people may be doing some baking at home and, kind of doing that early prep, and then you put it out there on the grill, but it's part of the experience to grill your ribs, and so you can show people, look who is in charge here. Not just Auburn or Alabama, but me. And I am the master of these ribs. It's like a football field, and I am on the gridiron. So it's just kind of like it's you injecting yourself into the game. Ribs, I would say, are the Alabama thing. And you can put some Alabama white sauce on the ribs. So, that's what
I think we have a recipe for that.
SouthernKitchen.com. Yes, we do.
The white sauce. We don't have any good rib recipes, though, do we?
We should get some.
I have roots in Decatur. Did you say you're
Decatur,
from Huntsville?
Alabama, yes.
I have roots in Decatur.
You went to Big Bob Gibson's then?
Big Bob Gibson. So my whole life I've been eating the Big Bob Gibson's white sauce,
Yeah.
and it is one of my favorite things in all of life. And I've gone here, even in Georgia, you can go somewhere and say, do you have white barbecue sauce? And they kind of look at you like you're crazy.
Like that doesn't exist, right?
White barbecue sauce, what are you talking about? And it's hard to explain. Because it doesn't sound like it should make sense, but it's so great.
Do you like white barbecue sauce, Mike?
Speaking of things I don't really like mayonnaise, but I will eat it because I feel like I have to. So I'm one of those people where if the spice rub in the ribs is enough to where it's not just like I'm eating some mayonnaise on the rib, then I can deal with it. And actually, I was eating it before I knew there was mayonnaise in it. So it's all psychological ultimately. But yeah, I like that stuff.
We probably make grilled chicken with Alabama white sauce once every 2 or 3 weeks at my house.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I think grilled chicken is the best vehicle for that sauce.
Yep. And you brush it on there, and it caramelizes in a way that you don't get from like tomato sauce. It's
bonds to the upper layer and everything. All right, one more question, I believe.
Final question. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh, God.
That was a hot thing recently, no pun intended.
It's a hot
there.
thing No.
No, it's not. It's a hot dog. A hot dog is a hot dog. Yep. A sandwich is a sandwich.
But it's meat in between bread. And so here's why I have to say yes.
Okay.
Is a Philly cheesesteak a sandwich?
Yes.
And think about it, it's a tube as opposed to shredded meat in there. So if we are enclosing soming and flapping it together, then isn't
feel like
that
you
the
enclose the hot
bun
dog,
is
though.
different than a
right.
Because like you're never gonna get a hot dog in a bun unless it's like a janky bun that's like.
Yeah. There's
like,
no roof
like
to a hot dog.
No.
Well,
the hot dog roof is the hot dog.
Okay, look. There have been hard times out there in the tailgate world that I've experienced. I don't know what world y'all come from in this elite world where every hot dog gets a hot dog bun. But we've had to go without sometimes. We've had to do some slices of white bread.
Yeah.
So in that case, what is it then?
But that's only one piece of white bread. It's still not a sandwich.
Well, you brought up an interesting point,
you are
though.
supposed to only use one
here's an interesting argument.
Okay.
You can eat a hot dog without a bun. You are not. If you eat deli meat without bread, you're not just eating like a sandwich without bread. You're just eating straight up deli meat. hot dog is a hot dog, no matter what kind of thing it's in.
So it doesn't even, it's
Right?
not whether or not it's a sandwich, it is a hot
Hot
dog.
dog.
Because, you can get that coat hanger and you can have a weenie roast out there and then you just bite that
Yep.
thing right off the wire, which probably isn't safe or
No,
sanitary.
No.
not safe at all.
But the fire kills everything, doesn't it? Kind of like alcohol.
Yep.
But but anyway, that may be the very best point that we've made today is that a hot dog is a hot dog.
Right.
Yes.
We're figuring it all out here at Southern Kitchen, but we could not have done this today without the valuable wisdom and expertise of our friend, podcast director for SEC Country and Diehards, and host of More Cowbell, which y'all need to be listening to and watching, my man Brandon Walker. I'm going to give you a hand clap.
Oh, thank you. I will too.
Yeah, get in there. Get in there as you can. And,
Listen, thank you very much for having me.
oh, no, thank you. I mean, we'll have to do something like this again.
You gonna be on my show?
Yes, if you'd love to have me.
Sure.
Only if you'd
I
love
don't know if I'd love to have you.
Yeah,
but
that's
I'll have you.
We'll see then. That will do it for us today on Sunday Supper this week. We would love to hear from you. You can always reach out with feedback at editor@southernkitchen.com. And also, please hit subscribe at Apple Podcast or wherever you get your podcasts. And please hit the like button so that you can keep up with us on Facebook. Until next time, I am still Mike Jordan.
I'm still Kate Williams.
Brandon Walker.
Brandon Walker. And as we always ask you to remember, don't hate the player or the game, hate the overpriced stadium food.